Hey guys, there we go. My name's Isaac. I'm on staff as an intern here, and Carl asked me if I would share my testimony tonight, and he only limited me to 3 minutes, and so I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to try. I'm going to start because I was like, I don't really know what I want to talk about, because what am I going to talk about in 3 minutes? But then I was reading this the other night, and I was like, this is perfect. And so this is a Job commentary that I've been reading called A Son for Glory. And he says, I'm going to read 2 excerpts and then talk about how it applies and then close. But he says, when God gets excited about his sons, he wants to send them into battle. He sends his sons into the fray. This is my son, he announces proudly, and then sends him to face Satan. This is my son, and he sends him to battle demons. This is my son, he sends him to face false accusations, to be mocked, spat upon, and beaten to a bloody pulp. When God loves his sons, he sends them into battle. If God did not spare his own son in his love, how much more so will he love all of his beloved sons? His love is not aimless, it is not sadistic. His love rejoices in the glory that comes after the battle, the glory of victory, and preeminently, the glory of communion with him. And then the second part, the very good God loves to take good men, break them apart, and turn them into very good men. The perfect and glorious God loves to take perfect men, break them apart, and turn them into greater glory and greater perfection. And so it was about this time 2 years ago where I just randomly felt the call to move to Seattle. And I'm from Winona. Like, I've lived here my whole life. I'd never lived anywhere else. And all of a sudden I was like, the more I prayed about it, the more I sought counsel about it. I was like, okay, this is what God is telling me to do. And I didn't know if I was going to come back or not. And so then from about January, the next few months I spent getting rid of a bunch of my stuff, getting ready to move. And then at the beginning of June of that year, I got on the train and I went to Seattle to go attend and work and volunteer with a church out there. And I didn't know whether I was going to come back or not. I left Winona being like, this might be the last time I ever live here. And it was great. It was amazing. God did so much and taught me so much. But it, without an exaggeration, was the hardest thing I've ever done. There were times that I was just sitting in my apartment in Seattle and I was just crying. I'm like, this sucks. This is so frustrating and so discouraging, and I don't understand why I'm here. And I'm 1,000 miles away from all of my friends and family and the church I grew up in, and I just want to go home. But since coming back and now being back for about a year, those 7 months that I was in Seattle, God used to transform me into a different person. I am not the same person I was when I left. And so, yes, sometimes life sucks. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it feels like God is cutting you apart like an offering and putting you on the altar and setting you on fire. And you're like, God, can we please not do this? But God does that for a reason, right? And the reason is, right, just like Adam in the garden, right? He tears a rib out of his side. But the point of that was to give him Eve, was to put him back together, to make him into something more beautiful and more glorious than he was before.